What we need to talk about is this thing that is going on more prevalent today. Is everybody's questioning everybody. Everybody's questioning everybody. And for men, I think what the most important thing for you to do first is look at the person that you're questioning and start to filter out your biases. Start to figure out whether or not there is some type of bias that's causing you to question what someone's saying. Whatever the authority is supposed to be, whether it is a school teacher, whether it's a doctor, whether it's your insurance agent, whether it's government officials, all that stuff. Because now we're in this mania of everybody distrusts everybody. Nobody wants to believe anything. And you have to understand that you're gonna have to trust somebody. People either go to school or they have their little check marks behind them for a reason. They have their certifications for a reason. And that's something that you shouldn't try to dismiss. But I think part of the issue is really the fact that you have your own biases. We know that. You have your own biases. You have your own thoughts about that particular person telling you whatever they're telling you. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse in this climate right now. So it's really just going to be where people just kind of side to whatever or whoever they're being led to. They're being pushed towards. Just like I was talking about before in one of my videos about the podcast that you're watching, and how the fact that you have one presenter who comes on and they'll be on that same channel. One presenter will come on that channel and they'll speak about all these things that seem to be true. And then the next day or the next video you see, another presenter comes on and they start speaking their truth. And then there's this, they may contradict each other. They may contradict each other. So then you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out, well, wait a minute. This person was dead certain on what they were talking about was their truth. This person is dead certain on what they're talking about this truth. Which one am I supposed to believe? This is where it comes in that you have to check your biases and you have to have some type of discernment. And you have to critically think, which unfortunately, that's like a dying method. That's a dying thought process now of critically thinking. Men are just being led by other folks who are just stupider than life. And the only reason why they're doing that is because they have their bias of who they believe is going to be the person that puts them on the right path. Or they believe is the person that checks the validation box. Nah, not in this climate. Not in this climate. You have to do your own due diligence. You have to pay attention and do your own research. You have to listen to people and hear what they're telling you and listen to the folks that are giving you this information and make sure, does it sound like it's aligning? Does it sound like it makes sense? Is this person kind of contradicting what they already said? The men online, they're real swift to get on their keyboards and talk about whoever is, spouting out whatever their opinion is, and they can, come in and criticize them and talk about how wrong they are. But you can't do that with folks that you are putting in this position that is supposed to be the authority. And let me take that back. Not the authority, the people that you're getting your information from, you're not willing to put their feet to the coal and question whether or not what stuff they're presenting you really makes sense. But the people that are in authority in these positions, you start to question. I understand biases are a very strong thing to have, and you can conflate what people are giving you based off of that bias. It's a strong, powerful tool. Well, not even a tool. It's just a way of your ideology, the way of your thinking, of how you're coming up with the person that is in that position, that you start to question them. But like I said, you're gonna have to try to trust somebody, because when you're in that doctor's office and they tell you that you have some type of ailment or you have some procedure or whatever, what happens? Most of you all are like, I don't even know what they're saying, and you listen to them anyway, right? You're not going to give no lip and not question so much about doctors. Some people do, but a lot of folks don't. They listen to what the doctor's saying and they're like, okay, well, I don't know. That's not my expertise. I'm going to trust what that doctor is telling me. Same thing applies to giving the benefit of the doubt of people who don't look like you, who people that you think are questionable, to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they may know what they're talking about. Maybe that's an option. Maybe that's an alternative. So, like I said, you got to use your discernment. You have to be able to filter out, listen, and try to feel. Sometimes you got to get to your emotions. Sometimes you got to feel, or that frequency that you're on, you got to feel whether or not something is right or something is wrong or something is questionable or it doesn't make sense. But don't let these outside forces tell you, oh, well, because this person looks like this, or this person is a part of this tribe, they don't have anything to offer. It is very hard. I'm telling you, it's not an easy thing navigating through this world now, man, because it's all tribal, all tribalism. Everybody is on whatever type of side, and they're questioning everything. But you have to be the individual to step outside of that tribe and say, this is affecting me, because all these other people, they're telling you different things because they want to make points and they want to, trigger, and they want to get content and all this other stuff. They're going to give you all that information. But the thing is, you are dealing with something that's personal to you in that moment. Whatever the situation is in that moment, that's your personal reality that you're dealing with. And you can't be doing all this tribal stuff when you have to make a decision right in front of you. Let down these guards. Try to have some, what's the word I'm looking for? Consideration. Try to have some consideration. Try to give folks the benefit of the doubt. Unless stuff is really sounds like it's going against everything that you believe or anything that you are thinking makes sense. We have to be able to do that in order to coexist, in order to survive. Have to be able to do it. If we get into this thing where we're so distrusting of everybody, nothing's going to get accomplished. And the only thing you're going to do is go in your corner. That person's going to go in their corner. And where's the civilization with that? Where's the humanity with that? We got a lot of things that we got to work on. But I'm speaking about you as a man can start to implement certain things in your life where you start shedding away from this whole tribalism Start becoming the individual that you are. Start being able to think for yourself. Don't get into this herd mentality. Because that person that you may go against, who may be the authority that you're in that particular situation, that person may be the one who can give you a break, who can make a difference in your situation, who may be able to give you an opportunity in that situation. You know, I'll tell you a story. I don't know, let me also tell my time. Oh yeah, all right, I got a little bit of time. Anyway, let me tell you a story, man. Let me tell you a story. Story time with Manny Blow. You know, I used to go out and I used to speak to young girls who were young pregnant moms, right? So I used to go to a center and I used to go out there and I used to speak and try to talk to them about insurance because, you know, I was an insurance agent, and tried to speak to them about the importance of being able to have certain policies in place for their child, for themselves, for their living conditions, all these things. So I used to go and frequently speak to these young ladies, right? And so one day I was in a classroom speaking to these young ladies, and there were some guys in there too, some of the fathers, soon-to-be fathers, and they're kind of talking, chit-chatting, you know, while I'm doing my presentation, and I had to stop them. And I say, hey, listen, you all are here to learn information from me. I'm not here to waste my time with you. I'm here to give you this information. It's pertinent information. It's information that's going to help you. And you need to be mindful of that. I also told them, I said, you know what? You don't know who I am. You have no clue who I am. I may be just this presenter, but you don't know my impact. And I was saying that in a manner of not to be boastful or not to put mad importance on myself. I was saying that to tell these folks that people roll around in certain circles. And the example I was given with the young men that were in the back of the room, I was telling them that, you know what? Maybe you leave here and you go apply for a job, right? You go apply for the job because we're local. How do you know that that person that you applied for a job doesn't know me and doesn't pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, do you know such and such? Have you ever heard about this person before? And the last impression that I had of you was you were sitting in my classroom and you were yucking it up and laughing and you weren't listening, weren't paying attention. And so what do you think I'm going to report back to this person that's trying to give you an opportunity? It ain't going to be good. It's not going to be a good referral. Or maybe you walk into my office trying to get a job, and all of a sudden I remember you. Oh, you're that big knucklehead who was dismissing what I was saying. So be careful. Be careful of who you are questioning in these authoritative positions. I'm not saying you're putting them on a pedestal. What I'm saying is that you don't know who you are talking to. And sometimes if you go throughout the day, sometimes you'll come across these people that are the authority, and maybe just change your attitude, where all of a sudden you're being more polite, you have more manner, or you're showing more manners, more respect to them. And this person had a bad day, and they come across you and they're like, you know what? Listen, I'm going to take care of this for you. I'm going to give you this opportunity. I'm going to help you out in this situation. When they could have been jerks. How many times y'all got stopped by cops, and the ones who were yammering and stuff like that, cops like, oh, you know what, let me write you a ticket. Versus the ones like, hey, you know what, listen, I apologize, being, you know, trying to be polite. And the cop says, you know what, I'm going to give you one and let you go. That type of stuff happens all the time. So you've got to change your presentation when you're coming in, going up against someone who's in authoritative position and listen to what they say. Take in what they're talking about. Make the adjustments, make the calculations, and see whether or not the stuff makes sense. But try to present yourself in the best possible way, because y'all are both battling each other when you first see each other. And they may want to act and react a certain way towards you because of their biases towards you. It comes around full circle. You got a bias, they got a bias. So then y'all both are at this crossroad where you're fighting against each other. So it's just a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of advice, a little bit of way to try to get you all to start centering yourself and start moving away from all this stuff that's out here that's you're listening to, and trying to hone in with what's going to advance you. That's the name, or that's the basis of the channel, the basis of the movement of men, is to get all this noise out the way, to be productive, to be able to get to your point, get to your goals, get to the level you want to get to. It's about execution. I'm not for all of the talking about what you got to do and how you got to do it and having these, laboring conversations amongst stuff. I'm about execution. Let's start moving in the direction you're trying to get to. Let's use these tangibles to get to the point that you want to get to. That's what I'm about. And implementing that stuff now. Not tomorrow, not 2 years from now. Now. That's how you start building yourself up. That's how you start changing your life. It's implementing little small things right now. So when you go out in this world, today, the next day, whatever, and you come across somebody who's an authoritative figure, try to think and take a step back. Bypass the biases. Take a step back. Let that person talk. And then try to develop your interaction with this person. And come off where you present yourself with the respect and the mannerisms. Like I said, that stuff gets you far, man. It really does. You're killing kindness with whoever got this anger. Anyway, I got to roll out, man. I'm going to go to the park. I'm going to catch on the next note. Peace.